Hey everybody, this is Vincent the Wandering Warrior. Now, I know you guys saw my video morning with Brandon Ricketts of Kali Ilustrisimo, Ricketts FMA. If you haven't, definitely go check that out. And obviously, like, share, subscribe. You know what to do. One of the greatest things that happened that morning was that we had light technical sparring. And in this video, we're going to talk about the benefits of that. But real quick, if you don't know what I'm talking about, light technical sparring is when your sparring is kept at a point, at a certain level of intensity where you can validly pressure test what you're doing, but at the same time continue to elevate your technique over the course of that sparring. That can be tough if you're just trying to smash each other and destroy each other. That can be tough if that sparring is kind of turning into an egotistical battle to the death, you know what I'm saying? So this is actually an issue that we see in a lot of martial arts. In the martial sports arena, oftentimes we see young guys getting hot-headed, egotistical, and they're just losing brain cells, beating each other up, but they're not actually getting that much better. They're just validating what they already have, right? And sure, that's some skills, a lot of toughness, a lot of athleticism, but they're not really progressing. Sometimes, say in the traditional martial arts arena where maybe they don't have a sports outlet, people, even if they do spar, they get way too caught up in being combative and ultra aggressive, which are extremely important in combat and self-defense. But if you only do that, you don't leave that much room for technical growth. So one of the benefits of like technical sparring and then talking about it after, which is what I'm about to show you, is that you get to provide the room for growth under pressure.
About either sparring as a technical thing, depending on what your goal is. So, because usually when it comes to sparring for a lot of people, from what I can report, it goes like an ego thing, of course. Like you don't want to get beat up. But over time, you know, even though you don't want to get beat up, but then how will you learn all the techniques and everything? So you want to think about it like that. You want to be technical with this. If you know for a fact you can exchange, go on the technical side, you know, have that switch. Right? Same thing, but just hands. Okay? Ready?
Go! Five, four, three, and time.
I would say it felt like both extremely well-honed reactions, instinctive movements with some intelligent adjustments in between each one.
Cool.
You know, because everything he's doing was very fluid, but I could see him not reacting but responding with adjustments to those things. So, okay, it's doing this way, angle off this way, do something here is always a good idea depending on what tactic you're trying to do, but he was optimizing it a little bit each time. And I think it goes back to what he was saying earlier about technical play.
Yeah.
Technical play gives you more room for that, not just physically, but also emotionally. Emotionally,
Yeah.
you can trust that the other person, and the other person can trust you, that you can learn through your sparring, rather than just validate what you have.
Yeah. You know, Brandon, I just bring you guys. So one of the things he was just talking about that I also think you provide as a space here in Metro Manila for folks is that I go to, you know, I'll visit different groups, but the play is quite intense usually.
Like really intense?
Yeah, like they're you know, no one wants to look bad or make a mistake and stuff. It's the difference between, like in judo, randori and shiai. Shiai is a whole different thing. Like you could be out of the tournament in 5 seconds. right? But it's like he was noticing like the level of technical engagement there, and it's like I think that's also why there's a level of excellence I see in your students is because you're not actually training. And some people would look down on this, but I'll just say what it is. They're like, we can't train like that for self-defense. But I'm like, yeah, but if you train always like in self-defense, and this is what happens in my experience with Serrata, because they always have that mentality to real fight. They go into this adrenal state where it's always fight or flight.
Yeah.
But real skill doesn't come from fight or flight. None of the old men who outschooled me when I had been doing Serrata for 7 years were fighting me. They were doing like Brandon was doing with my son. He was just lightly enjoying and playing. And for me, the higher skill of FMA comes out in technical play. I could be wrong, because I respect like Mark Denny, like he said his flow state, and for the flow state he's seen come from his students came from this in the gathering. And I think there's two different access points. It comes from you go the hard way, but it's easier on the body and you're going to get a lot more from technical play. And I don't know, did you want to say anything about that?
Because the way I looked at it before when there came like that technical...
Because I know you got hard play from your dad.
So usually the hard play kind of happens more of, let's say, so if I'm being honest with the hard play, if in the beginning, let's say, I started with a certain energy, but when I notice like a student is really trying to bring up that energy, of course it shoots up. You know, I have to match that energy. But I remember my older brother would kind of say more of, if you can do like, you know, like whenever you kind of go into that sparring, of course usually you have the mindset that you have to go hard. But if you can, even though some people are going hard, but if you can actually go into that level of control, imagine you speeding that up like ×2 kind of thing. Yeah,
then you have a reserve of speed and a reserve of power.
Exactly.
And aggro. that's a fuel tank also, right?
And it's also because this is just the whole point of the whole sparring thing is that I always try to make sure when I'm going into it is that like I have a goal in mind every single time.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as just okay, sparring. I'll make sure he doesn't hit me so he feels like shit, like oh damn, like you know, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It was always just more of okay, if he hits me, great. You know, I looked at it as, you know, a boxer, no matter what, a pro boxer always gets hit every now and then. It happens, but then if you can land clean technical shots on it, that's a whole different thing. It shows like a different kind of understanding of the technique. So I was trying to look for more of that. At this point, I was able to use more of the close to get the gap of being able to look at this. Because as I was telling Champ earlier, is that if I was, let's say right here, if I was trying to get it from right here, I won't get it. For me to get here, I have to have this kind of angle off. So at the moment I'm angled, I can now shoot it. Because again, I have to take into account I'm short. So I can't exactly just do it. So I have to put myself slightly closer so that I can get this. If we were looking at it from Tatang's perspective, Tatang can reach it all the way over there. You know, he can definitely kind of get it.
Yeah, he had those
super long arms. Yeah,
basketball player arms, really.
Yeah. So I had to adjust.
And gorilla strength.
Exactly. So I had to adjust my Ilustrisimo style to my height and how what feels a lot more comfortable for me. For me, doing this is not the same as how my dad would. My dad would come in with more of a trick at that point because he has that karate background. My older brother would come with more of a very Sagasa, old school kind of way. So Sagasa is kind of like when someone would just walk in. If he would strike, he would just kind of rush in. That's a very Sagasa bakbakan mentality. So with me, I can't exactly do that because back in the day, I was a little bit more, you know, skinnier than him. So I couldn't do that, so I ended up doing this one. But now with the help of me coming in here, I always had this.
With the help of Philippine rice. No, sorry.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's just a kind of a sneak peek into our conversation. Of course, thanks again to Brandon Ricketts for allowing us to his morning training there. Obviously to my brother Elrik Jundis for setting up this opportunity. And obviously, thank you for following me on my journey. I salute yours. Peace.